Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so now we're going to look at the command verb in a sentence, right? In a sentence. Just fix that up. So within a command itself is the action and the doer, right? You're not going to find the doer outside. And the doer is always going to be in second person because you can't command somebody that's not there. And nor can you command yourself. It's always going to be somebody that's in front of you, right? And that's what second person is. It's when you're speaking to somebody. And then, so if we want to convert a verb into a command, what we do is we take the present tense version. So we look at yansuru, which means he is helping. It comes from nasara, which means he helped. When we take nasara and we put it into the present tense, it becomes yansuru, which means he is helping. Next, we change it to a second person, change it into second person, so it becomes tansuru, which means you are helping. After that, we throw a sukun on the end, and it becomes tansur, right? At this point, we have two options. Either we can choose to make it a negation by adding a la on the front, and then it would become don't help, or we can continue and make it a command. If you want to make it a command, don't add the la, just work with tansur, and remove the first letter. So you're left with nsur, nsur. After that, you just add on a hamza, and it becomes unsur, which means help. And now you finally have a command. Right? So that's just a quick review of how to take a present tense verb and change it into a command. For karuma and nasara, it takes a dhamma. For aslama, yuslimu, it takes a fatha. And then for all the other ones, where you're left with a case where the first letter has a sukun and the last letter has a sukun, they all become kasra. So daraba yadribu would be idrib, hit. Fataha yaftahu would be iftah, which means open, like the command of opening. So that's just a quick little review on how to change present tense verbs into commands. So the breakdown of it pretty much is the fa'il and the fa'il, the verb and the doer, are both going to be inside the command. So unsur, right? That means if I just have unsur here, it means you help. Right? Unsur, you help. Now we add zaid, zaydan, which is a maf'ul. It becomes you help zaid, right? So let's take a look at some more examples. Tansurina zaydan, right? Tansurina zaydan. That means you are helping Zaid, right? So the verb here is tansurina, which is you, feminine, second person. So you are helping. And then Zaid, we know, is the person receiving the help because he's in a state of nasb. So you are helping Zaid. If I want to turn this into a command, it would be unsurina, unsurina, right? That's what we'd usually think it to be. It'd be unsurina, but the noon actually gets chopped off, right? So one thing to keep in mind is that when it comes to commands, the noon can't take a sukun, so it gets chopped off for every case except for a group of women. When it's a group of women and we're dealing with unsurna, that na does not get removed because it's referring to 3 or more women. We'll look at the entire table right here just to give you a better idea. So we have iftah, which means you open. Iftaha, right? Usually it would be iftahani, right? But the noon gets removed because they can't take a sukun. So it just becomes iftaha. You both open. Iftahu. Usually it's iftahuna. The noon gets removed and now it means you all open, right? And then iftahi, usually it would be iftahina, but the noon gets removed. And then iftaha, usually it'd be iftahani, but the noon gets removed. Then in this case, when you're referring to 3 or more women, it still remains. That noon is known as the noon al-niswa, and it's the noon literally meaning of the gathered women, and it doesn't get removed. All the other noons do. So just as a quick reminder, there is no third person form or first person form for commands because once again, you can't command someone that you're speaking about. You have to be speaking directly to them, nor can you command yourself. So it's only going to work for the second person. So let's look at some examples. Katabtuma, which means you both wrote. This is in the past tense. Taktubani, which means you both are writing, which is in the present tense. And then finally, uktuba, which means both of you write. Usually it would be uktubani, but that noon is removed because it can't take a sukun, right? So fatahtum, which means all of you open the door. Oh, sorry, all of you opened the door. It's in the past tense. Fatahtum. al-bab. And we know bab is the thing being opened because it's in a state of nasb. Then we have تفتحون الباب, which means all of you are opening the door. So now we're in the present tense. Now we go into command, and it becomes iftahu. You see that noon was removed on the end because it can't take a sukoon, so we drop it. It becomes iftahu al-baba, which means all of you open the door. It's a command now. So when you are making a command with a specific name, make sure the person you are commanding is introduced before. So in this example, Ya Zaydu uktub, Zayd write. We're commanding Zayd to write. You want to make it so that Zayd is introduced before the verb itself, so that he's being called upon first, and then you add write. So just as a quick caveat here, Ustad said he's going to explain it in more detail later on, but this ya here is known as a harfu nida. It literally translates to like the harf of calling, right? And it's used to get someone's attention. That's it. So if I just had this alone, if I got rid of uktub and I just had ya Zaydu, it would just translate to this. Zayd. That's it. Or some people say O Zayd, but Sheikh Omar, he says that's really outdated. Nobody really talks like that. So Zayd would be more appropriate. And what this ya does is that it causes the word coming after it to drop tanween. Right? So usually it'd be Zaydun, as we've seen in other examples above, because masculine names carry double endings, but in this case it just becomes Zaydu because of the ya acting on it. And that's it. Alright guys, Assalamu alaikum.